Hey everybody, this is episode 15 of Double Cross Anime, the podcast. I'm Whooper, and I'm joined by Mario, who's going to say hello
Hello.
right now. Oh, he's way
Hi.
ahead of me on that. Hey Mario, glad to have you here.
It's all right. Thank you. It's morning here. It's morning Sunday in my time,
Right, and it's
and that
Saturday
would.
night for me.
Hmm. That's nice. That interesting. That like we never. When you think about that, we never have like a postcard on the same day.
All I can say is anime brings people together, man.
Mm-hmm.
From across the
From
world.
all, yeah, from all around the world. That is exactly right.
And today, anime has brought us together to talk about four seasonal shows. Season's coming to a close pretty fast here. We've got episode 10 of Megalobox and Hinamatsuri,
Mm-hmm.
episode 9 of Piano no Mori and Hisone Tomasatan. Senshi got the subs up just a few hours ago. Thank you, Base the Senshi. And for Rosa Versailles, we're coming down the home stretch. It's 31 to 35 are the episodes we're going to be talking about today, which leaves just next week to wrap it up. So where
Make
should we
two
start?
weeks. By the way.
Oh no, I
All
think
right.
it's
Let's
just
start with.
it's just next week, right? Because that'll be 36 to 40, and then it's over.
Yeah, but I'm not. I will be available next week only.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Okay, yeah. Let's get that out of the way right now. No podcast next week, everybody. Mark your calendars.
Sorry for any inconvenience that might cause.
All right, where are we starting?
All right, let's start with Piano no Mori,
Okay, let's do it.
episode 9,
Yes. So I think
which is we get into the which is when we get into the qualifying tournaments of the Chopin tournaments.
right. Yeah. This is what we've been
It,
building towards because this is where Shuhei hopes to defeat Kai. This is
mhm,
where Ajino is hoping that he can use Kai to kind of like strike a blow against this tournament, which rejected him
mhm,
25 years ago. And I think that both of us were pretty impressed with episode 8, which kind of was a
mhm.
table setting episode, like set the stage for this one.
Yep,
So how did you feel about whether episode 9 like delivered? Did it deliver, or did it fail to meet your expectations? Somewhere in the middle. How'd you feel?
it's somewhere in the middle. It's kind of a mixed bag for me.
Okay.
Like like the tournament itself wasn't that very good, especially when Kai have like his first stage fright, which I feel was overdone, overcooked, which I feel like it doesn't really add up. And I also don't like the Shuhei in this episode when he tried to behave as a as Kai competitor, as Kai rival, but I feel very forced. The the only segment that I like, however, is on the scenes involve Kai's mother
Ajino?
and the teacher and Achino
Yeah. At the very end. Yeah.
at the very end. Yep.
Yeah, that
So
that
that's
stood
how
out
I
to
feel.
me. That little bit at the end stood out to me as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she asks him like, "Do you think we'll ever meet again?"
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going to, where are they? Poland.
Yep.
Yeah,
Poland.
they're in Poland for this competition. So he's about to go to Poland to meet up with Kai. He's not there with him at the start, I guess, because he just assumes Kai is going to breeze through the qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
So he's planning on leaving, and she asks, "Will we ever meet again?" Did you get the sense that there was like supposed to be some kind of romance, some like one-sided maybe between them?
No, no, I don't. No, I don't. Actually,
Okay.
tell me more about what you think.
Oh, it's just a little inkling that I had, just a small
From
thought from
from
Kai's
Kai's
mom
mom.
to Ajino. Yeah. And I mean, of
Mm.
course, she's Kai's mother, and he's provided this tremendous opportunity for her son, so she's very grateful. And that,
Mm-hmm.
I could possibly be mistaking that for romantic interest. But she said it like with such a hopeful tone and with, a little blush on her face,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm wondering if that's a possibility, because that would also be a way to tell a bigger story about those characters, not just as a potential couple, but as individuals. Because I mean, they're not going to be they're not competitors in the piano world, so that might be a way to tell another story about them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm not convinced it's going to happen or anything. It's just a question that I had.
Yeah, well, I actually like the way that like those two characters, Kai's mom and Achinos, they are from like uh, two different worlds.
Hmm.
Like if not for Kai, they will never meet each other. They will never know each other's. But now they are in the situation where like they share the same dreams. They share the same like passions. That they want to get Kai to become the pianist.
Right.
So I think like that share like that thing that make them all together, and I find that pretty good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how you feel about the tournament itself?
I thought that. Um, well, I mean, first of all, I thought that the backgrounds in this episode, some of the external shots of
Mm-hmm.
like Polish buildings, some of the establishing shots they used, I
Uh-huh.
thought those were just photographs with like filters over them to make them look like animation,
Mm-hmm.
which I
I
think is
I
terrible.
haven't noticed it. I haven't noticed that actually. But,
It's a pretty common trend in
mm-hmm.
anime, like modern TV anime
Yep.
this decade, specifically towards like the later half of this decade, because like CG is starting to creep in more and more, and we're getting more and more animated productions every season than ever before, and a bunch of them are by like startup studios, a lot of which don't
Mm-hmm.
have a big talent pool to draw from, so their projects are hastily put together like this one. And some like
Mm-hmm.
if you go back, I think the very first shot of the episode, which establishes kind of where they are in Poland, I guess. If you look
Mm-hmm.
at it carefully, you can. I think that it's just a photograph
Mm.
with the filter over it. You know, they did something in production to make it look like it was drawn, but it wasn't.
All right.
So that
And how?
right off the
Yeah.
bat, that had me sour. But then as for the
Mm-hmm.
tournament itself, Kai's performance, like the way that it was put together on screen, was just god awful. It was terrible.
It's it's just how the show how the show does that, like it just kind of what they do.
Yeah.
I don't really like expect much more from this performance.
We don't even
It's
see
just
his hands on the keys one time. We don't see him playing the piano. We see shots of his like upper body and his head. Even when they go into CG mode, you don't see his fingers on the keys for the first piece that he plays. We
mm-hmm.
only get the first like let's say 32 measures, and then it cuts away to maybe a reaction from a couple members of the crowd, and then it cuts
Mm-hmm.
back to Kai, but there's like a little skip in time, and then he's at the end of the piece. And then
Mm-hmm.
he reflects to himself, "Oh man, I was so nervous." Blah 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 blah. But we didn't hear like I just had a flashback to Hibiki Euphonium as I was
Yep.
listening to. I mean, that show on occasion did have a performance that was where a big chunk of it was cut out just for time. But it also had these
Mm-hmm.
really extravagant, like beautiful, lush arrangements that were
Mm-hmm.
played in full on
Mm-hmm.
certain episodes that were like key story points. And I
Yep.
just thought to myself, man, this is extreme. Like the bar has been set, and we are nowhere close right now.
Well, if you compare any show with Kyoto Animation, like the other show just feel like a child play, just feel like amateur work
I
compared to
I don't know.
KyoAni.
I think Bones is the king of TV animation.
That for now, yes.
Um, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Perhaps it's not a fair comparison. But it was so far below what I
Mm-hmm.
expected, even for this show. I mean, I think it was the worst so far out of 9 episodes.
All right.
And so as a result, it completely failed to sell me on the idea that Kai was nervous, like you said
Mm-hmm.
earlier.
All right. How you think about the new characters? And we have like a new Japanese pianist, young
Kosei.
pianist, Gose, who apparently practice study in Poland.
Yeah, and he had a
How you?
little line of dialogue about Shuhei kind of swooping in and getting
Mm-hmm,
like forcing his way into a class that a lot of people wait years to get into.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that's the main like that's the main use that I got out of his character was just a little expositional device to tell us about what Shuhei's been up to. Apart from that, he was just comic relief, and I don't really care about him. He didn't leave much of an impression at all.
I agree. Oh, and there is one new guy,
The blonde guy, right?
the blonde guy,
Yep.
who we now know his name. So he's from Poland. I think he's gonna be like real opponents for both Shuhei and Kai for these tournaments.
Yeah, probably so, because he's
Uh,
in the opening theme.
yeah, and he have like physical, some sort of physical issues.
Was it physical or was it like stress related?
I think it's more physical. It's more like he just can get up, can get up to play. So
Right.
like his strength.
Okay. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of signals that he's going to be more of a like a main player. If he's got that obstacle to overcome, if that's like built into his character, then we'll
Mm-hmm.
probably be seeing more of him. And a lot of his story will probably have to deal with whatever
Mm-hmm.
illness he has or whatever he's grappling with.
So just to sum up, the tournament so far was really lackluster for me. It it just doesn't leave me much of the impact.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I,
And Shuhei, when he does his performance, the show does the exact same thing, where we hear the beginning and the end of it, and there's like a huge gap in
mm,
the middle, and then at the
yep.
end, Kai is like completely blown back. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, Shuhei is a genius. He's amazing. He's a prodigy. He's the best ever. But we like, as the audience, we
Yeah.
have no opportunity to experience that because of how the show is chopping up its performances and not showing the pieces being performed.
Yeah, but I think I can like take that easy because it's just like the qualifying stage. So in the main stage, in the main tournaments, I hopefully like those the plays, the tunes gonna be like in full form.
Right.
So for now I'm okay with them chopping off on the pieces.
Right. I see what you mean. I mean, they've only got a certain number of episodes to work with. It is two core, but they're still limited, and they've got a big manga to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to. This is just a qualifying round. They got to get through it. I mean, I understand all that, but
It's still disappointing.
yeah, it's the same as like a boxing anime where you don't really feel the punches being thrown, and then they just cut away to the audience who are all screaming their heads off.
Hmm.
Like I want to be in the ring with those guys, and I want to
Right,
be like when the piano's being played, I want to be on stage with those guys.
right.
And I'm not getting that so far. But we'll see how it does in the next few episodes.
All right.
But
One last thing.
go
What
ahead.
do you think about Kai and Suhei's relationship for now? So because they see each other, they're not on the same page regarding how they see each other.
Right, Shuhei is
So
competing with Kai, while Kai thinks that the only person you ought to compete with is yourself.
that's right.
Yeah, to me that's pretty classic anime. Like you
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a rivalry between two geniuses, and they have opposing ideologies about why they do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them wins, and that's usually the person who stands for like hard work and values and
Who, whoever wins is the main protagonist. So
well,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure Kai will win.
yeah, of course. But it makes sense that because this is coming out of Japan that it would be structured that Kai is the one who thinks you should just do your best and just compete against yourself, just do your best and ganbare.
Mm-hmm.
Because Japan is all about that.
Right. All right. I have nothing else to say about this episode. Except yes, it's a lackluster episode for me. It
It's
just
not
feel
going to make the
like
cut for next season, man.
yes. Actually, like for the last two episodes, I was thinking of like picking up again because I was planning to cut up to not watching it after the first seasons,
Right.
but then the last two episodes like give me back hope, and now this episodes
Yeah. Well, it could,
uh,
10 to 12 could be godlike. I really doubt it,
Yeah.
but they could still be amazing. Who knows?
all right. Yeah, I think for the next 2 or 3 episodes gonna be like the end of this act, which will be a good point for us to see like how the show performing.
Right, and then
So
we can
far.
just get rid of it so we can watch Banana Fish.
Yep. All right. I agree with that.
We'll get there soon enough. All right, what's next?
All right. But let talk the one that you just mentioned. So let's go
Yes.
with Megalobox.
Right, I threw a little jab, if you will. I kind of threw a little punch in Megalobox's direction there.
Yep. All right. So up to you.
I thought this episode was fine.
Yep.
I thought it was okay. I'm not wild about it. Like I've been falling off very slowly, like in slow motion. I've been falling off the Megalobox train for a while. But I thought this one was good. It in particular because the entire first half was not spent in a boxing ring. And was just going into Nanbu's betrayal for like the 10th time.
Yep.
We got a little bit
Oh my
bit
gosh.
about Sachio's backstory. That was kind of hammy. He's like handed the knife, and then he sees Yukiko acting motherly towards some kids, and then he literally starts shedding tears
Crying.
onto the knife. that's that's so silly.
Well, I thought it was nice.
I mean,
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I mean, if you did, that's cool. We were just having a discussion before we started podcasting about like a completely stupid and ridiculous show that I am currently enjoying, which shall remain nameless. So that kind of symbolism being so obvious and kind of a little bit stupid is okay. I can take it in small doses, like Megalobox dished out this week, so that's fine. And then as for the match itself, I actually liked the boxing this week. I thought that go ahead.
Yeah, I found that too. I found like the boxing was improved. The match was improved this week.
Yep.
So a bit too fast. Like I don't know. I feel about this episode was it was too slow, but the boxing match was too quick. That's what I feel.
Okay. Maybe it was because the boxing match was over so fast that it by comparison, everything else felt like it was too slow.
Right.
I mean, I think the reason that the fight was so interesting, there were probably two reasons for me. One of them was Pepe Iglesias' character, the Spider. His character, he throws like flicker jabs, and he moves around a lot in the ring. He's very fast. So as a result, I think the animation style that they went with fell back more heavily on keyframes, like poses, as opposed to really trying to show a lot of punches from the beginning to the end and failing to get the full rhythm. We got a lot of cuts where we just saw, as far as the impact of the punch goes, all we saw was from the elbow up. We saw the collision. But we didn't get a ton of like full, like zoomed out body on body shots, which I think worked to the show's benefit. It was more pose heavy and more stylized, and I liked that.
All right. And what was the second thing?
Oh, I guess I kind of combined both of them. One was Pepe Iglesias' character being so quick and forcing them to animate in a particular way, and I guess the second thing would be the fact that there were, it was more traditionally animated. It was more like, when you think anime, you do think about characters in big, exaggerated poses. And I think we got that here. And it actually worked out for me.
Yep. I think because of Pepe Iglesias' style, the fight is more dynamic. That's why I agree with you. I also feel that Oh, I like the way that Megalobox they focus on the player's style, not on the Megalo's
Not on the
gear.
gear, right? Right.
Yeah. So I think that's the right focus. I don't want to know about like how the gear supports the how the way that the player play. I want to know about their character throughout their style. So I think for a very limited time that guy Pepe have, he accomplished he does stand out of a good like boxing player for me.
Right. Yeah, it's
But
this episode was definitely different from the ones that shoot. I already forget the dude's name. What was the brother's name who had the gear? And like we spent 3 episodes learning
on
about
the
it. What was that dude's name?
Shirato,
Shirato is the name of the company.
I don't remember. Yeah, alright.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. We got so invested in his character, or the show wanted us to, and now we already forget.
I don't remember.
Well, we spent a long time hearing about him and like his gear and what his gear enabled him to do, and his gear.
Mm-hmm.
In this fight, the gear is just as important actually for Yuri, because it's his gear that's like being shown off. Because Yukiko's got like a bunch of military
Mm-hmm.
potential investors up in the booth, the box, the nice seats, and they're looking.
Yeah.
She wants to. I guess she wants to be a contractor, and sell them this stuff for use in war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was going on in the background of this episode, and war has already been brought up, because Joe's fourth opponent was the soldier who had come back, and Nanbu had deserted him. He had PTSD and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then we've got the military guys scoping out this boxing tournament, trying to, potentially use it for combat for their soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And Yuri actually pushes through Iglesias's guard because of his gear, but it's so much more subtle. Is the point that I've been building to here? Like, we don't have to hear about it in flashbacks over and over, or get a bunch of dialogue between the guy and his techs about how his gear is working and percentages and stuff. We just get to see Yuri use it to its full potential, which is much more elegant and much better storytelling.
Well, for the guy that we spent the last 3 episodes off, and we don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
It's because like the gear is like it's become his characters. So that's why we learn more about his gear, how the gear functions, more than about his style, because the gear is like his style. I actually like that. I actually digging that.
Right.
One thing that I want to ask you though, and I know that I bring the point over the last time, but how the hell is the number 1 playing against the number 2 in the world in the semifinal?
I thought about
It
that.
doesn't make any sense to me.
They did when
Alright,
they were
tell
when they
me.
were announcing, playing those little videos about the fighters, and they said, Yuri's number 1, Pepe's number 2. They didn't say like in the world. They said IMA. So that might be. I mean, you're probably right, and the show did pit the number 1 and the number 2 against each other before the finals, which is silly. But I wonder if IMA is maybe like a different ranking method, and Joe and the other guy, whatever his name is, Baron or something like that. Maybe they're
The tiger, I think, or the lion.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Either one of them. I think it's a lion. Yep.
I'm just grasping at straws, honestly. You're right. It doesn't make sense that the number 1 and number 2 would play in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think
But-
Megalobox is too concerned with that. It's more concerned with style
That's right.
than logic.
And all right, let's get to the other part of the episodes.
Right,
That's
the first half.
Nambu, Joe, and how Nambu betrayed them yet again, once again, one more time, after like a million times, and we actually hear his reason over again. How do you think about that?
Well, I mean, the first thing I noticed was that the way that flashback was structured at the start,
Mm-hmm.
we learn, like, the conversation that he has with the crime boss many episodes ago that we saw where he puts the knife down into the table and he's like,
Yep.
take a chance on Joe. We'll pay back the debt. The flashback that we
Mhm.
got in this episode was a continuation of that. So Nanbu has known all along that this was going to
Mhm.
be what happened.
Yep. Yep.
So he's been stringing Joe along since practically the start. Maybe episode 3 or something was when they first teamed up
Mhm.
in the way they are now.
Yep.
So Nanbu
Mhm.
is he's I don't know. I mean we've heard this song and dance before.
Yep.
I'm not really shocked by it but at the same time I don't really care that much. What is Nanbu doing right now? Joe kind of left him behind.
Hold on. So I think that flashback wasn't like from Nabu first few episodes. I think it was from Joe retiring from the last match that we have. So it's just like few episodes ago. It's just like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Joe
Do I
retiring?
remember it right?
I don't
Yeah,
think
so
so.
All right.
What are you
The-
referring to when you say a few episodes ago?
Yeah, so remember when that the other guy blackmailed Joe and Nambu to not play to not enter the match
Oh
against
yeah.
him.
No, you're I don't think you're on base on this one. Because
Right,
it was
yep.
it was very specific the way that the flashback in this episode picked up
In the-
from
it-
the
in the
one
ship,
from
right?
a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So Nanbu has known this entire time that they were going to stop
Mm-hmm.
at at the top 4 or once they got into Megalonia, which
Yep.
is so like knowing that all the scenes where Team Nowhere, they're all training together. Sachio's playing on his little tablet and looking up the data,
Mhm.
and then Nanbu and Joe are boxing in the ring, and they're all like
Mhm.
giving each other like friendly little glances out of the sides of their eyes, like, "Oh man,
Mhm.
we're such a team. This is
Yeah.
such good
We-
team
we-
spirit."
We
And-
need to trust each other. We need to open up to each other.
Yeah, but
And
that's
all kind of stuff.
it wasn't. Nanbu's like he's a snake. He the whole
No,
time
he's
he's
a- yeah.
known that this was going
He
to happen.
He the scorpion. That's what the show put it. The scorpion and the frog.
Right.
You know that tale, right?
Yes, I knew about it before the episode. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I think the way the show set up though is that Nambu gives Sachio a place, a safe place to live, and then encourage Joe to get back on track. So I think I'm like 75% sure that he will die for the next episodes.
Yeah, you brought that up last week.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to die
think-
in like in before the end or in the next episode?
I think whenever Joe win in the fight, which I'm sure, but I'm 90% sure that he will win.
Right.
Right at that shot, the mafia boss or whoever it is we should Nabu down.
Okay. Well, wait. If oh, so you think not when he wins the whole thing, but when he wins his next match in the semis? Because that's what the crime boss is
Mhm,
hoping he'll
mhm.
do. He'll throw the match in the semis.
That's right. And because Joe didn't throw the match, Joe gonna win with his like one punch.
Right. Yeah.
So
Every episode.
yeah, every episode. So that is when Nambu will
Right.
his head will roll.
Right. Yeah, so that'll probably be in the next episode because I have to imagine with only 2 episodes left. I think it's a 12-episode series.
Oh, that's a 13, I think, for the
It-
last time I heard.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then it's possible that the Joe's fight in the semis will come as late as episode 12, but it's probably going to happen in the next one.
Yeah, it's probably happened in the next one.
Well, we
because
Go ahead.
when we think about that, it's like episode 10 right now, right?
Yep.
And we still got like the final match with Yuri, which I think will take about like 2 episodes?
Oh, I hope not.
Oh my god. Well, so yes,
let's
so
see.
I think that's gonna be happen next episodes.
I just looked it up. It is 13 episodes. At least that's what, the internet says.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling the Nanbu death prediction. I liked it last week when you brought it up. It still makes sense to me.
Yeah, it and of course he will die like when Cho wins, so that's for the heightened drama, which is
Of course.
what make a love boss is really good about.
Yeah, the whole thing with Sachio's dad getting killed for his work on
Yeah.
the gear, and then his mom dying of an illness 2 to 3 years later, and now
1 year later.
1 year later, and then now
Yeah.
Yukiko has taken him in for whatever reason.
I actually like the idea that he actually brings Sachio for her to like
But why would she say
to
yes?
I have no idea, but I like the idea.
I mean, it's true that like she has that little conversation with her secretary in the box where she's viewing from where she's viewing the match, and
Yep.
she says, "Put together a list of everyone involved in that incident so we can take care of them." Like, is she gonna kill everybody? But Sachio is
I'll take
involved.
care of them.
Yeah, I don't think so. But Sachio, the incident that she's talking about is the one with Sachio's dad getting killed for his work on the gear. Like,
Mhm.
so Sachio ties into her story in that way. But I'm just
Mhm.
wondering, like, why she would want to take care of this snot-nosed brat. Why not just
Well,
have somebody else
maybe-
do it, or throw him in a cell like she did with Nanbu in the
Oh.
last episode? Just stick him in a room or something.
Well, I actually I can see the reason why, and I was meant to be a psychiatrist, but I think I have the like a serious reason why she would take Sachio. It's because he see him and Joe as the real thing. Remember when she always mentioned about the real deal, the stuff.
I think it was
Yeah.
mostly Yuri who went on and on about the real thing, and she's probably gotten that from him.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things because when she looked into his eyes and he saw something of the real deal, so she took him in.
I see. Okay.
Uh, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, makes
explanation.
makes sense to me, man. He's the real deal.
All right.
He's
the real deal.
he's really got on that orange hat, and he really is everybody's best buddy, and he's a great character.
All right.
I thought this episode was pretty good.
All right. I think it's a bit too slow, but yeah, we still got like 3 more episodes for the 2 matches,
Yep.
so it's alright.
I hope Yuri wins. Go Yuri.
Maybe I think maybe Joe gonna die at the end. Remember, only
Yeah.
landlord theory.
Yeah, it's possible. Ugh. I mean, Joe's probably
Alright,
gonna
let's-
win, but I hope Yuri wins. Team Yuri. Hashtag it.
All right, so we still have Hinamatsuri or Hisune Tomasutan.
Hinamatsuri. Let's do
All right, Hinamatsuri.
I picked this one
So-
because Hitomi was falling asleep in class because of all the jobs that she had to to do to afford her new apartment,
Yeah.
and I am also feeling kind of sleepy. That's why I picked it.
All right. So this episode we go back to our 2 main girls, which is 2 favorite girl, my favorite girls, which is Hitomi and Anzu,
Yes.
and Hitomi with Anzu.
Yeah, and no Mao. I'm really surprised that there was no Mao after she got
Oh,
that.
Yeah, the big thing coming,
Yeah, the big entrance in last week's episode.
and we actually don't see Hina this week.
We do. She's in the background of Hitomi's story.
Oh, so she's snoring as well. She was sleeping as well.
Yeah, that was actually the funniest part of the entire episode for me.
Really?
Was
Alright.
Hitomi like being so concerned about falling asleep in class, and then next to her, Hina's just sleeping without a care in the world. and
Yeah.
like drools coming out of her mouth.
Uh,
The contrast between the two characters was funny to me.
all right. So the first half we have like the problem with Hitomi's characters that she couldn't say no to people advice. So
Right.
she the one who goes along with like everything, and that's put a toll in her. You know, like that's just too much workload for her. So she kind of managed all that. Surprisingly, she even like work in the office.
Would you say that she managed to handle it?
She managed to handle yeah, the job well done. Yes.
I don't know. I think that when you're coming home to your apartment after work and you're like collapsing and you're feeling like
Yeah,
what's the
but
point? Why am I even alive? I don't know if that's handling it.
yeah, but she does all the job done right.
Yes, she
Well
does.
done even.
She completes all of her tasks. I don't know if
Yep.
she handles her jobs and her life. I kind of felt that the episode was a commentary on like Japanese work culture,
Mhm.
where
Yep.
you work an insane amount of hours just so you can like afford your lifestyle, like your apartment, and stay alive. And then once you get home, you rest for like a short time, then you're back on the grind, and you just wonder what is this all for? Because that's literally what Hitomi
Yeah.
wonders.
Yeah, it's not even that he told me want to do all of these things. He just got caught into like the circles of all the works, and
Right.
she couldn't get away from that.
Well, I wonder how many people who participate in that sort of culture where it's just nonstop work. I wonder how many of them kind of feel the same way. Even though they're
Uh,
not 12-year-old
yeah.
girls, and even though they're not working illegally at companies where they have no business working. I wonder how many of them feel like, oh, I just got sucked up into this and now I can't get out.
Yep, I would say a lot,
Yeah.
and I would say that in every country, like even the American, the Australian, or Japan,
Yeah. Oh yeah. It happens in
especially
America too.
Japan. Yep.
Yeah.
So yes, it's more like a social commentary.
Yeah.
The first half of the episodes, and it ring quite true to me.
But there's still plenty of little gags
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Yep.
I was not a fan of the way that he told me. Like, it's true that she has a trouble saying no, and that's what lands her in a lot of these situations. Because she's like hoping that her mom will bail her out at the end. She wants her mom to do the dirty work for her, which of course doesn't work out. But actually, her putting her signature or her stamp down on the application for the contract for the apartment, that was I can't remember her name. Utako, maybe.
Utako.
Yeah, that was her literally physically forcing her to
Yep.
to put the stamp down on the paper. So clearly a terrible influence on Hitomi.
Well, she get a nice apartment for
Oh,
herself. She got
she's
a
12
good job
years
for
old.
herself. Well, do you think of a 12-year-old girl who got her own apartment, a nice one, a half price? I remember the half price special
Yes.
house, new house with all the furnitures.
Yep.
I would take that.
You would, but you're a responsible adult person. She's a child who's being manipulated by her boss.
Well, I think that's the whole, like the whole point of her character is,
Yes.
like, she a 12-year-old, but she work illegally. She work for the adult bar. She now have her own apartment. She have like everything. That's like a challenge.
Yeah.
It's more, yeah.
You're right. It is the point of her character. That's what makes her stories funny. But I just can't help thinking about her as if in the back of my mind, I can't help thinking about her as though she's a real person and like how supremely messed up the situation is. Where is child
That's
services? Where are they?
Do they have that in Japan?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure that they have something to deal with kids who have run away from home. Because she runs away from home in this episode. Because her mom
Yeah.
makes that terrible accusation. And what was the deal with
And-
her mom's character design? Why did she look like a child?
yeah, I'm not even sure. Like, at first, I thought that was her sister,
Yeah.
and I was thinking to myself like, oh, like it's the way that Hinamashiri always care about these, like teen and the underage girls.
Right. Adolescent.
Yeah, adolescents,
Yeah.
like even preteen. So
Yeah.
they even like, yeah.
But it was her mom.
But it was her mom. My God.
Yeah. This isn't Lucky
I
Star.
I
Like the adult characters
I
should look like adults, please.
yeah. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I don't get the reason why, and she even taller than her mom, which is actually normal. But her mom looks like a 20-something girl,
Yeah.
which is abnormal.
Yeah. That just in this particular situation that was confusing to me. Um, because her mom is the one who she wants her to bail her out at the end, and her mom's also the person who kind of sets the plot in motion by accusing her of prostituting herself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would
Mm-hmm.
figure that when they design, like, the mangaka, when they designed the mom's character, that her mom would be like taller and more stern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in terms of the story, I don't think it really makes sense for her character to look like that or be designed that way.
I think it's supposed to be a gag, so I think that her mom's characters will come back and maybe become a central of some gag that people think her as a teenager.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I kind of agree. There must be a reason why she's so short. Like, it's probably gonna be some kind of joke at the center of some episode or some little
Yep.
segment.
Yep.
And if
All right,
not,
and
then
then
it'll just be a mystery.
yep, and we get to into the second part of the shows where it's Anzu who got her paid, and she want to buy something for her foster parents,
Right.
and then she got into the on the racing betting.
Yeah, she went to the track, lost
Oh
all
my
her
God.
money.
So that's another social commentary for me.
You think so?
I think so.
What about
Well,
like people not knowing the value of money, or
no, you don't bet on, like you don't become greedy.
that's more of like a moral, I think,
Yeah, all right, moral.
like
Hmm.
teaching a lesson. Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah,
Because on her
the,
first race, she got so much money.
yeah, no. So my social commentary is that do not listen to unreasonable adult.
Right. Don't take economic tips from members of the yakuza.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
That's a lesson we can all learn from.
Yep.
I like this episode. I thought it was cute that at the end, after she had lost her money, she came up with the idea of the coupons for the massage.
Yeah.
Because it reminds you of the things that kids do. Like sometimes in
Hmm.
school, they'll have you make coupon books that you can give
Yeah,
to your
that's
mom
right.
for Mother's Day or to your dad for Father's Day. And
I
Anzu, she's like 12 or however old she is, but she's kind of mentally and socially a child. So, it fits
hmm
that she does the coupons, and it's nice.
and she learned some of her life lessons, and she did learn why she lose all the money, and I thought that the coupon was really cute.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a good story for me.
Yeah, Anzus are always my favorite. I at this point I just have to say I'm biased. Nothing else comes close.
Oh my God. Oh, I still prefer Hitomi better, but Anzu's story has always been better, more emotional
Yeah.
than Hitomi's.
But you must
Or
you
Mal
must
or
go ahead.
Mal's.
Yeah, or
Or
definitely
Mal's.
Mao's.
I still don't know what her deal is.
Yeah. Hopefully we see her next
I
week.
still don't know what they I still don't know what they do with her, to be more exact.
Yeah, me
Like
neither, man.
she appear out of nowhere in the very first 10 seconds, or alright 20 seconds of the first episode. So she's like the first one that we see in the series,
Yep.
and then she disappear completely until episode 9, that she have like little segment of her being alone in the stranded island,
Yep.
and now she kind of disappear again.
Yeah, it's something that we dirty casual anime only watchers will never be able to understand. Only the superior manga readers will know
Yeah,
what is going on. And for
yeah,
that, Godspeed, you guys. If you ever are listening to this and you read the manga, clue us in. We don't know what's going on.
talking about reading up the manga, I think I gonna try to read Land of Lustrous. What's the name?
Hoseki no Kuni.
Yeah, Hoseki no Kuni. Because I yesterday I tried to read on after the anime left off, and it was actually very interesting. And I
Nice.
always consider that manga is better than the anime, and the anime was already like number one on my list
Last year.
last
Yep.
year. Yep.
Well,
And
it's that if it's better than number one, then how can you go wrong?
all right, all right. And talking about that, if you're gonna make the top 10 of the last year again, would you change some of your spot?
No, nope.
All right.
I haven't gone back and watched
I
anything that would change my mind.
mm-hmm. All right. Because for me, I still pretty much keep it the same except for one show that I will dump it out.
What's that?
Can you guess?
I'm going to PS Gels right now. I mean, that's a secret.
Yep.
You don't know what the vlog is.
Oh.
I'm
You-
going
you
to
can-
the site
you can-
right
you-
now.
Yeah, you can beep out.
I don't think I'm gonna take the effort to do that.
Well,
I did like for the episode last week. I did remove that whole 45-minute segment.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, I'm looking at the ballots. Can I guess which one you would chuck out of your top 10? I'm just gonna say it's Tsuki ga Kirei.
Really?
Is that right?
You think I'm gonna check it out of the top 10?
Yeah, I'm just guessing because like I don't know, maybe you're trying to shock me because that was my favorite. What?
No, no.
Princess Prince? Oh, Mohotsukai no Yome.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the one that I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I mean that I can't believe that was in your top 10 to begin with. It's it's down to personal taste, of course, but that show to me just like dragged. Every week was a
Alright.
drag.
I you know because I believe that the first three OVAs episodes and the first three episodes of the show was the best, and then it's getting a bit like a bit lower and lower and lower, but by the point of the first core, I still consider it's like from my top 10. Like the first three episodes will be on my top 5 easily.
Right.
But
Then the second
Like,
core
up-
didn't do it for you.
yeah, it just fallen off the cliff.
Right. I dropped it after the first core. I couldn't go on. So I'm sad to hear that it got even worse.
Oh well, yeah, it does some it off, but yeah, it's just not that good. No.
Right. So that would bump up.
Suki Rakure though, I want to watch it again because I still have very good feeling. I get very good impressions about the show.
Right. I don't
Which
do a
is
lot of
strange.
rewatching, so it'll probably be a long time before I go back to it. Hopefully by the time I do, it'll still be all right.
Good. All right.
I hope so.
All right. So let's back to the last shows of the seasons.
Right.
With-
Hisone to
with the-
Masaton.
Yep. I don't like the new episodes. I don't like the directions again.
Well,
with
yeah,
the new episodes.
it's because it's going back to the we got to crush their hearts because they can't
Yeah.
pilot the dragon because they're in love.
So you know like the two girls, Hisune and what is the other
Hoshino.
girl's name? And Hoshino's was spit out.
Yep.
Was unpure because of their love.
Yeah.
because of their romantic feeling.
Yeah. The
And
dragon produces gastric acid that dissolves their clothes because they're in love. What kind of
yeah,
like fucked up metaphor is
that
this?
that exactly is right. And the romantic love wasn't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
So I'm just it's like no to me everything. My God, nah.
You know what part of this episode I hated the most? The screaming.
Which part? All right, yeah. When Hisune
Hisone.
realized that she actually have a feeling for the guy
Okonogi.
Okonogi. I need to write his name down. He
His
gonna be important.
his name is Okonogi Haru. So the shrine maiden girl who's in love with him, Natsume, she calls him
Yep.
Haru. And then
Yep.
his co-workers, like Hisone, they call him Okonogi.
All right.
Um,
You you like the thing I hate the most about Mari Osada writing is on this unnecessary
Mari Okada?
romance.
yeah,
Mari Okada.
yeah. Uh, I, you know what? I know there's a lot of like conversation that surrounds her in terms of her being like a really melodramatic writer and throwing in a lot of romance where it isn't necessary and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have not paid that like very close attention to her. So I know some of the series that she's written for. Um, but
Which one that
I
you have seen from her?
oh, I don't know, man. See that's the thing. I haven't paid close enough attention to like answer off the top of my head. I know that she wrote for the Lupin the Third series, a woman called Fujiko Mine.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
But the reason
She wrote on that.
the reason that I like that show is because of the visuals, not because of her involvement.
All right. She appears in Anohana, the
That
flower
that,
we
sh-
saw that day.
that show was okay. It was
That
alright.
that I think that is considered that one of her best.
Yeah, like
Toradora actually.
yeah, Toradora. I feel the same way about Toradora that I do about Anohana.
Yep.
Like they're very, very cheesy, very sappy teen romance drama series. I like some things about them, but when I step back and look at the bigger picture,
Yep.
like what the series is trying to communicate to me, on the whole, I don't think there's a lot to
Yep,
be explored there.
Right, I still have a fun memory with Toradora, just for Toradora. Anna Anohana is alright.
Yeah, it was okay.
I still consider that as her best. What else does she got? Wandering Sun, I have no idea that she did that. She wrote that.
Well,
Oh,
she,
let's
she
talk.
may
Let's
not
talk
have.
about original shows. So that would be better to judge her writing. So I think Nagi no Asukara is the original shows.
Yeah, I dropped that like a hot potato, man.
All right,
Could not get through it.
and Kiss Never.
Oh man, I watched one episode of that. I was out. I was out.
All right, and Mayoiga.
That's the one where they're all on the bus.
Yeah, that's
I,
the one. But
I couldn't finish that either.
the Anthem of the Heart, the movie.
Have not seen.
All right, because that the other show I just mentioned is other show that I have seen from her,
Okay.
and it wasn't good. So I kind of like some of her qualities, the way that she write different characters with different personality and put them in together into a group. I really like that way of her. I like the way that she explores some of the raw emotions, and sometimes it goes like appropriate with the theme of the story, but she always delve into romance tensions, which very 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 unnecessary, and her characters are always like spelling out too much.
Well, that's the thing about her writing style, at least based on what I'm gathering from the shows that you're listing off. the way that she writes characters is they have some big mental, emotional, romantic
Issues.
roadblock, like deep, very deep within them.
Yep.
And the whole
Yep.
whole arc that she designs for characters is for that issue
To explore.
to be dredged up, and then to suddenly
Yep.
cause them like a whole bunch of suffering and hardship, and then they have to power through that, and then the power of love wins, or something stupid.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. I agree with that.
So that's probably what's going to go on here, and but I've come to expect that not just from her. She's a big name in the anime writing world. Like apart from her, the only one that I can think of like a modern figure that's
Mhm.
that's bigger than she is would be like Gen Urobuchi,
Oh,
who did Madoka
Mother.
Magica, yeah. And
When you said
Fate
mother,
Zero.
I'm actually think of a female writer.
Oh,
Alright. Yep.
I'm thinking of
Alright.
like Madoka and Fate Zero and Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet and
I-
other stuff.
Yeah, a mix of his style as well. But yeah, that's another story.
Yeah. So
Um,
like, the only reason I brought him up is because he's the only other anime writer who's working right now, has like a big cult of personality around them. Like a lot of people know who they are and pay attention to their work based on their name.
That's right.
So Mario Kata has that, but even though she's so prominent, I don't feel as though the issues that crop up in her writing are unique to her. Like anime as a whole has characters all over the place, just who are like ticking time bombs basically, and the whole show you're watching and you're waiting for that bomb to explode and for there to be like a big confession or a gigantic fight or a
Yep.
huge declaration of like their ideals, just their values. So anime is like that, and that's just the way it is. Like I kind of view it as a negative, but uh, I mean I still watch tons of anime, so I can't be
Yep.
too hard on anybody who likes that kind of thing or likes Okada's writing.
Yep. Right. And I actually think that the show would be much fresher, much more in the fresh perspective if they focus on the Shrine Maiden instead.
Maybe.
Of those Dragon pilots.
Although that's really easy to
Yeah.
say because we don't know anything about them, so we can kind of project whatever desires we have for the show onto them because they're like fresh
Yep.
characters.
All right, and that's one thing that we need to notice now, that there will be a sacrifice. So I think there will be like one girl from the shrine, from the Miko, from the Shrine Maiden, will be a sacrifice for the whole ritual.
I mean, it's
the
probably
whole
going to be Natsume.
celebration.
Natsume is the one who has the
That's
crush
gonna
on
be
Haru.
the good. Yeah, I think that's from the Shrine Maiden though. So that's gonna maybe the girl who have a crush on Okonogi.
Yes, that's Natsume.
Oh, that's Natsume. Sorry, I thought you meant you meant Hisune. Yep,
Oh no.
that has Natsume. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably good. I mean, do we know for sure that it's only going to be one person sacrificed? Because the vibe that I got from this episode was that all of them were going to share in some terrible fate. Eboshi, the guy with the gray hair, the
Yep.
the big boss or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He made a comment to that effect, like, oh, they're so elegant and so graceful, and yet their fate is so tragic.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like all of them are gonna bite the bullet. But if it's
Well,
gonna be just
because-
one, it's definitely gonna be Natsume because like after
Yeah.
she quote unquote loses the duel of love, then of course she has to be sentenced to death because this is a Japanese TV show.
Yeah. But first we have to deal with all these, like romance, on those romantic. That I think that they're gonna address it next episodes.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, they
I
can't fly.
bet-
They can't fly their dragons, so they have to address it sooner rather than later, so they can get back in the dragons.
Yeah, I think the dragons is like to six sides. Like they really in pain. The way I see them
They really what?
in pain.
In pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
mean definitely the design, like the way that their eyes changed and the way that they were
Yeah.
like like screaming, roaring, whatever you want to
Yep.
call it. They were because that's the whole thing is the girls are syncing somehow with the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It's another parallel between this show and Evangelion. Um,
Oh. Oh.
I know I've brought that up in the past.
All right.
But yeah, the
And
dragons feel the pain that the girls are experiencing. Only in this case, it's like emotional pain.
yep.
Um, I guess. I mean, they're in love. Is that really such a painful feeling that needs to be exploited and crushed?
No.
Mario Kata says yes.
No. All right. Oh my God.
The like
I,
I definitely get all your issues with what happened, and I'm not wild about it either. But the
mhm.
one thing in this episode that really put me off was just the screaming. When she quote unquote realizes that she's in love with Okunogi, like nobody realizes their affections for somebody that way. It doesn't hit you like a bolt of lightning. That's for romance
Mm,
novels and anime.
no. Yeah, I agree with you.
So the fact that she realizes it so quickly out of nowhere at all is wrong. But then
Mm.
the way that she screams, just the piercing like throat rending scream that the voice actress had to produce because someone was giving her direction about what like someone's across the glass from her in the booth telling her how to perform. That's what they wanted. They thought that was a good idea. That's crazy to me.
Well, they have to do something much worse. They have to do only licking sounds. See? So yeah, that's part of her job. They have no question about that. That's like the military orders. That's like the what we have on the Rose of Versailles. That's like the king's order. So they
Right.
have to like just follow the orders.
Yeah, I guess.
Or otherwise 10 guys gonna be in jail.
That's right. 12 guys. Do you want to use that
Okay.
as a segue? Do you want to use that as like a way to get right into Rose of Versailles or
That's
Yep.
that's right.
All right.
I just want to wrap it up.
All right,
This
yeah.
episode goes to the direction that I hate the most. I just don't. I'm not interested at all to see how this gonna play out.
I'm not that interested either, but I'm also not that interested in like any of the other shows that we're watching, how they're going to play out,
Yes.
honestly.
So
I still enjoy the backgrounds in this scene in the show a lot. Like I like
but
the quality that the backgrounds have to them of being kind of rough.
mhm,
Um and just like they don't it doesn't look like a 2018 anime TV series.
mhm,
It looks completely unique and all its own. I really appreciate that. But as for the
that's
story,
right.
I'm not really on board.
Yeah. So don't expect the ranking of this show will drop in my old ranking stuff.
Right on the blog, which has
Yeah.
been linked to in the description box. Check it out. It'll be
Oh.
it'll be
Oh.
there.
All right. Thank you, Whooper,
Of
again.
course, of course.
All right. Let's get to the last shows.
Rose of
So
Versailles.
well, so we nearly done with Road of South.
Yeah,
Uh, we saw and now reviewing episode 31 to 35.
that's right.
So we just only got like 5 episodes left.
I know. How did you feel? Like general feelings about this batch of episodes?
Well, I still think that the number 21 to 25 batch is the best. This one is more heavy on the context, on the history context.
Yes, we got all the stuff about the Estates General, the Assembly,
Hmm.
and the like the tennis court oath. I remember learning about that in school. So
Did
yeah,
you?
yes, yeah, I did.
Oh,
I
I didn't. I haven't.
I think maybe the
I,
reason that they teach it in American schools, I mean they teach world history in general, but I think maybe the
mhm.
reason I remember it is because there are a lot of parallels between the American Revolution and the French Revolution.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
being
They
being an
keep comparing
American,
that.
yeah, being an
Hmm.
American, the curriculum that is given to my teachers, let's say when I'm a kid in school, they probably want to
Hmm.
focus on the French Revolution to play up like what happened in our country. To
Yeah.
be like, oh, look what we
You,
influenced, look what we did.
that's I think that's Yang Wenli in another shows would like the most. Like how history repeat itself.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yep.
Dude, I've been stalled. I'm stuck at episode 58 of Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Phew,
I'm just
that's still a lot.
yeah. Oh, I'm only halfway done.
Oh man, that's just halfway done.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch more after we're done podcasting. I'm gonna watch more. Gonna make myself watch it. Get back in the mood.
All right.
Anyway.
What I like the most about Roach episodes as a whole, that's the whole thing, was that I like the way they do they change the focus through the eyes of Oscar. So you will see, like, at first, from the first few episodes, we see only matters happen in the very high top. So with only Marie Antoinette
Right.
and her court, her woman's dramas, and
Yeah.
then we get into, like, the more lower class of Oscars, and like on the royals, on the nobles,
Right.
and then afterwards we see, like, on the people from the poor who try to get into that high class. So we got, like, Madame du Barry, uh, Rosalie, and then we
And
get
Sean.
into the John,
Yeah. Her
and
especially.
then we get, yeah, her, that exactly right, her especially, and then we get into, like, on these revolutionaries. So Robespierre and whoever else, which
Robespierre, Bernard, who was the Black
Yep.
Knight and is now
Uh-huh.
somehow friends with Andre, despite the fact that he cut his face open. And
oh yes.
yeah, that really struck me when I was watching that episode where they're all like buddy buddy after that political rally.
Oh my, yeah, I didn't actually make the connections, and then later on, now we get into Oscar being with the poor, so we're in with the workers, the guys who assigned into the army just for money, just for the salaries.
Right.
So we got Alain, we got, like, all these 10 guys who was in prisons.
Yep.
So yes, I like the way the show, like, go from top down, from the top down to the bottom, through the eyes of Oscars.
Yeah,
I
that is
actually like that.
that is pretty interesting because if the show is going to end with the French Revolution, as it must at this point, because we're almost at the end, it's interesting that the show did take that trajectory. You would think that for a series like this, they would just start at the bottom and stay there. Because
That's right.
you need to, the audience needs to understand the reason for the revolution, like the context. But instead,
Yep.
we do start with Oscar in a position of, of relative
High
like
up.
wealth and power, yeah, and luxury. And I think the reason for that is because the show, as political as it's getting, is still intensely focused on Oscar's journey as a character. So we needed that entire like swooping downwards slope.
Yep.
Because she's she's becoming a new person. She's learning different things from different social classes and different groups of people, like different ways of thinking, and they're all informing the way that she thinks about herself, being being as conflicted as she is.
That's right.
So I think it
So,
works really
yes,
beautifully.
That's right. I like the way the narrative flows.
Yeah.
And although we don't see much of Marie Antoinette anymore, she actually, like, from a very little screen that she have, she done a beautiful job.
In these 5
I
episodes.
like her. Yeah, in this 5 episodes, I like her as a character more than her being a childish kid
Yeah.
as at the beginning of the show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I don't think you're gonna like her very much in a few episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you can read it. You can like go on Wikipedia and find out why.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. She made the most of what little screen time she had. Like her agony over the death of her son, and The fact that she got like no applause and no reception in when the Estates General
Yep.
was convened,
Yep.
and like how hard she took that and how that kind of compounded the sorrow she was already feeling because what's his name? Starts with a J. Joseph. Because Joseph was sick in bed, and she had been worried about him not just in these episodes, but for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got some sort of like terminal illness.
And I like the way that when the king was very undecisive
Yeah.
of on the matters, he's the one who actually come out and let's say the final words. So she the one who actually rescue Oscars of Oscar, like supposedly betrayal, and she actually the one who released the 10 men.
Was
You will see.
she the one who released the 10 men?
Yep, because in the statement they say like I they say that the prince, the queen, they say like they actually use a special word for the women's, but which I don't remember that now.
Okay. I
That's
did
not
not.
the king.
I did not
Yep.
get that in my notes.
Yeah.
Okay, but she pardoned the men the same way that she did for shoot, I'm losing my train of thought.
Oscar.
Yes,
Yeah.
the same way that she did for Oscar to spare Oscar from like her father's wrath.
Oh, and her father proved to be like the least uh the least favorite characters.
Yeah.
The least developed characters for me.
Yeah.
He just very inconsistent.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the last batch of 5 episodes, the only thing we really got from him was that he was like really wishing for his daughter's happiness as a
Yep.
woman.
As a woman.
But it strikes me that he doesn't really understand Oscar at all. Like he forced her to take on the role of a man just so that he could have a son who would advance through the ranks and bring the Jarjays family, glory and honor. And so then now that that's done and she's already accomplished that, now he wants her to like flip roles. So although I was surprised when he acted so violently towards her and like threatened to kill her, after he seemed to be hoping for her happiness in the last batch of episodes. It actually doesn't seem too inconsistent to me when I think about it, because he like at no point has he ever understood his daughter. He just views her as a tool and as property that he can kill even if he thinks it's necessary.
Yep.
So yeah, he's a bastard.
Yeah, he a bastard. He's literally the first man that we saw in the series.
Is that right?
And he that was when they announced that they like he has a baby and that was a girl, and he was like no.
Oh, that's
He's a
right.
boy.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah,
the way you said that is so funny to me. No.
he was already a bastard, like right at the very first scenes of the series.
He's just concerned with himself. Like he's not even really concerned with his family name. He's concerned with how he's reflected in that.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, but
that's
I
episode that's episode 35. Let's start from episode 31.
Yep.
Do you want to like run it through?
Yeah, let's just run it through. So I don't remember on the official name though. So but basically like there was a meeting. That's what they say about for on the three class of
the three
of
estates.
Friends. The three estates, yeah.
Yeah, it's
coming
like
together.
The clergyman is one, the nobility is another, and then the third estate is the common people. That's why we get all the scenes of the people out in the streets yelling about the Estates General and the third estate, because they want their representatives to go to that meeting.
Yep. And it held for what I think is very long, for like a month or two. And what else? At that time, at the same time, the prince, the crown prince, was dead of Eunice,
Who's
And
this?
there's a little
You
story.
mean Joseph, right?
Joseph's, yeah.
Yeah.
Up Eunice. That's what I mean. And at the same time, we have like a little section about Alan and his family.
Yeah. I
His
really liked
sister.
Alan in these episodes.
Yeah, I like him as well. He's improved a lot. Hey.
Yeah.
And also we have a quick glimpse of Fuzzent and what probably be Oscar confessions to Andre Love about her love to Andre.
Kind of. Are you talking about the scene where let me
My Andre.
right, yeah. Let me scroll through my notes here. So episode 31, there's that thing about the royal family arriving from Spain, blah blah blah.
Mhm,
That's not too important. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, one of the members of Oscar's regiment, his name is Lazar. He sells his gun for money. And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
that whole conflict between Alan and Oscar because Alan thinks that Oscar has sold out one of her men,
Mm-hmm.
which ends up being untrue. And then they duel, and Oscar wins the duel. So it's interesting the way that Alan has always had a bad relationship with Oscar because she's a member of the nobility and he hates that
Yep.
he's kind of like a champion of the common man.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that she wins his approval in these episodes is really cool. I like the way that their relationship evolves. So yes, it's
I actually
episode.
like
Go ahead.
I actually like Alan as a characters. He's improved a lot.
Yeah.
He's cool.
I think I know what you mean when you say that he's improved, but I think he was always on this path. I think that at first he was portrayed as being like kind of brutish and
Yep.
like, you know, kind of coarse and too much of like a manly man who's a little too
Wow, and drunken, and he considered that fighting after drinking is like the normal way of life.
right. Yeah,
That's
but
how. Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that the reason that we're introduced to him that way is so that we can experience the way that his character changes in Oscar's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first he's set up as someone who Oscar really can't relate to because he is, you know, he's so coarse and he just likes to get drunk, and you know he sells his guns and his military uniforms and stuff just to pay for his family's you know, for his mother's medicine, for his family's bread.
Situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's not someone that Oscar can relate to, but the show makes him more sympathetic to us as he and Oscar grow closer together. So those two things are happening in parallel, which really works for me.
Yep.
So
That's right.
it's episode 32. What you mentioned about Oscar saying "My Andre," that happens in episode 32. Because there's a riot. Like,
Yep.
Oscar and Andre are in a carriage going to thank the general for freeing Lazar.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a noble carriage, like it has some kind of insignia on it or something, the rioters, like in the streets, common people, they overthrow the carriage. And that's when Oscar like cries out "My Andre" because she wants to make sure that he's safe. And it's Fairson who's dispatched to take care of the riot, so he's the one that Oscar says that in front of. And I actually did not like that scene very much. How did you feel about it?
I don't know what to feel about that actually. I just know that it's like it's kind of important for both Oscar and Fuzzent because they was having some kind of of complexity relationship between each other, and now it's just more like a confirmation from Oscar that like she actually think regard Andres more closer than she thought, and Fuzzent have to accept that.
Right.
It well I yeah, so like personally I just don't.
You didn't have any strong feelings about it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I just don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
Give me one sec, yeah.
I agree with your reading of the scene. I mean, I think that it's arranged specifically so that Ferguson is there as like a foil to Andre, so that when Oscar says, Watashi no Andre, my Andre, it's that much more significant because the man that she used to love is there with her, and yet she's like more concerned with another man's safety. But the reason that I don't really like the scene is because it comes so quickly after what Andre did to her in episode 28.
Oh. Yeah.
And I mean, I won't. I'm not too hung up on that. Like, I understand that's part of the story, and there may have been a big time skip. Sometimes it's hard to keep track with this show. Although the narrator does do a lot of mentioning of dates once we get into the more historical part. But I wanted Andre to do something to like prove his loyalty to Oscar again.
Well, he actually did. When Oscar's father tried to kill her.
Yes.
He
put himself between them.
Yep.
Right, and that happens like 3 episodes later, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly, I wish Oscar had realized then that she loved him, right, instead of earlier in the alleyway with Ferguson there, because with Ferguson being there, it just seems too perfectly arranged.
Yep.
So I wish it had happened a little later, and with Ferguson maybe like being out of the picture.
I still don't think that Oscar fully in love with Andre though.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well, I kind of feel as though after these episodes that maybe they'll like get one little moment where they both acknowledge their love for each other, and then they die or something. One of them dies, something like that.
I actually I do feel at the riot that Andre might gonna die this time.
Right. I agree. I felt that was a possibility.
But I actually shift for this relationship between Andre and Alan. Look at the picture I just showed you. Look at his eyes. Tell me, it's not like something of the sexual tension between them.
They're not even. I mean, Andre is looking at him, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think that Alan is looking. I don't think he's looking at Andre. I think he's looking at something off screen. I mean, context is everything. When did this happen?
Oh, it's happened in episode 32. I don't remember when though.
Okay.
But that shot was just so funny to me.
I can definitely I can believe that there's some sort of homosexual undercurrent between them. I mean, this show has this. Think about this show's main character. It's a woman who is raised as a man and doesn't know how to identify herself. So they're like anything is fair game at that point. The thing go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that there's gonna be anything between Alan and Andre though.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but I can see what you're saying, especially the way that Andre's looking at him, just with the one eye. And of course, it's got to be framed this way because that's the only eye he's got. But it's right. Their relationship is quite interesting. In one of these episodes, let me see if I can find it.
Yep.
Yes, it's episode 33, and episode 33 is actually my favorite of the show so far.
Which age?
To be honest, I took tons of notes on it, and it would take forever to read them all.
All right, so just tell me briefly what happened in that episode.
That's the one with we were talking earlier about the rally that both Bernard and Andre go to. It's that one. Where we see Rosalie, who is married to Bernard.
Yep.
It's the one where Antoinette is praying for her son's health, and Oscar takes Joseph for a ride on the horse because Joseph's begging and begging.
And he asks him to wait for her to maybe become his bride.
Yeah, he wants to be like reborn.
Yep.
And then in a healthier body, and then marry Oscar. So he's fallen in love with Oscar. That's also the one where Alan comes back after burying his mom and his sister,
Mm-hmm.
because his sister killed herself after being abandoned at the altar, or like the day before her wedding.
All right.
So
Yeah.
all this, and then Ferrison returns to Sweden, and the Estates General
All
meets.
right.
Like so much stuff happens in episode 33. It's where It's where the show starts to get really dense, where every
Yep.
minute is a new scene with new characters. Anyway, the scene that's really significant between Alan and Andre in that episode is the one where Alan, he returns after burying his dead sister, and he says,
Mm-hmm.
"I couldn't stay away because I wanted to see how the Third Estate, how our representatives are going to like take the nobles to task." And then he
Mm-hmm.
promises to Andre, I will be your eyes. I will see what your blind eye can't see."
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so to me that indicates that Alan and Andre are like two sides of the same coin. Alan is the person who Andre would have been if Andre had not been tethered to the nobility and served Oscar.
I agree with your point. Yes. Yep.
I just think it's so fascinating that Alan
That
is serving that role, and that we can see that Andre, like he is so conflicted. Like he doesn't know whether to be loyal to the nobles and to Oscar or to the common man, which is the
Mm-hmm.
class that he really belongs to. And we're given a character in this show, Alan, who literally who represents who Andre would have been in another life. So
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
relationship between them is actually, I mean, maybe you could make an argument that there's like some kind of sexual tension between them because they are kind of two sides of the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool.
That's a fascinating train of thought. Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's episode 33 is the like that's the episode that like expanded my mind.
Yeah.
I felt like I was on
think that's
drugs when I was
episode.
watching it.
Yeah. Well, I think that episode alone is like they set in the stage, the final stage.
Yes,
So
I agree.
they have to like establish again all of the main characters in the pictures,
Right.
and I do feel that Rosalie Rowe is at her end right now.
Yeah, you
She-
said that last week.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, yes, now that we've seen her, she's married to Bernard and she's happy. Yes, hopefully, finally, will this be the end of Rosalie?
Yay!
I mean, maybe we'll see her again in the next. Maybe she dies. Maybe everyone just dies.
And I actually, yeah, one more thing I like about Alan is like he's one of the most observant in characters in the series. So I actually see through everything, especially when it's come to Andre, which you said right. Maybe because of like the dual side of the same characters of what
Right.
they could have been.
Right.
He see through Oscar as well, but
Yeah.
mostly he see through Andre, like everything about Andre.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. He's the first one to realize that Andre's going blind. He's the one who's kind of cheering Andre on,
Yep.
in his in his quest to win Oscar's love or whatever. Even though he says, "You better give her up. It's not a good
Yep.
idea. Don't do it." But
Yep.
he still like encourages Andre and tries to set up opportunities for them to be together.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
he sees more than he lets on, because when we're introduced to him, he's like a drunk and just a lousy. He's up to no good, but
yep, and,
underneath that he does
and he's
perceive
slacking as well.
he's slacking. Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
like it was one of his work time, and he patrol, and he just, oh my god, keep on drinking, man.
yeah,
Let's go to another bar, have fun.
yeah. I mean, you could probably infer that the reason that he drinks so much is to numb the pain.
Escape. Yep.
Because we know that he's been like worried about his sister, if she's going to be able to escape their situation and find happiness or love, and he's worried about his mother who's sick, and he's as the head of, I mean, Oscar's in charge of Group B in the French Guards, but he's their leader. He's the one that they all look to, so he has that responsibility on his shoulders as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all that piled on top of one man, like it's no wonder he drinks.
Yep. All right. So yeah. So I think the revolution gonna be it actually it's pretty much happening right now.
Yeah, yeah, but the heads have not started to roll yet. There's gonna be violence.
Yeah, they're gonna be violence.
So just look forward to that, and it's gonna be like spectacular violence. It's not just gonna be people getting shot. I won't spoil it, but
I know how Marie Antoinette and the king gonna end. I know
yeah,
that. I don't know much of other detail those.
that's mostly what I'm talking about. Is like the gruesome way that they die.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, 5 more episodes to go.
Yeah.
And how you think Road of Versailles stand out as a classic?
After these 5 episodes, these are my favorites by far.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Oh yes. After like 33 and 34, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly 33. Honestly, I think that is like, if I have a list of favorite shows, I don't have a list of favorite episodes, but if I did, that would be on
Mm-hmm.
it.
Wow, right.
Um, the thing is, like, I don't know if this show is gonna join my, even if it ends like really really well and really beautifully, really symmetrically and poetically. Even if it manages that, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it can go on my list of all-time favorites, because for so much of the first half of the show, I was just like, I was interested
T-
in continuing to watch it, but
yep.
I also
To try.
recognized how repetitive it was.
Yep. That's right.
So,
Mm.
but if the last five
It's
are
in.
really good, it might be one of my favorites. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a very better in a better position right now, a much stronger position. So yeah, and better direction as well. So you do recognize many birds
Yeah,
this time, right?
yeah, of course, yeah. Although I like when they're all over the place, you kind of feel as though they're less significant,
Yep.
because they're used in tons of scene transitions, and last week I was like, oh cool, there are birds everywhere. This week I'm like, get those damn birds off the screen. I want to see the characters.
All right.
There's so much more that we can talk about in these episodes. We need to wrap it up soon, probably.
Yeah. You
Um,
want to mention one?
I mean, to be honest, there are like 10 things that I want to bring up.
Oh.
Um, but I'll just bring up one, and it's about episode 33 again.
Yep.
That's the one where, how does it open? Let's see. Okay, yes. It essentially opens with Andre at the rally and then seeing Bernard afterwards. So you see him at the rally, and then you see him in Bernard and Rosalie's home. So he's spending time with the common people.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after all that, we get Oscar visiting Marie Antoinette and then riding on the horse with Joseph. So
Oh, right.
it's the show clearly illustrating that Oscar and Andre belong in, like, they're from two separate worlds. They're actually spending time with the classes in which they were born.
Wow.
Uh,
That's a very good observation there.
yeah, that's why I said that episode 33 like expanded my mind, because I suddenly felt as though I realized like the show's artistry and how it
Mm-hmm.
how it set up the characters from the
Oh.
from the beginning to oppose each other thematically.
Or
Uh,
a sudden relations. It's just like you have to do the scream of Hishone now. A stroke of lightning.
oh no. Don't. I'm
Alright,
I'm
go on.
like so high on this show right now. Don't remind me of that complete
Alright, go on.
train wreck. Um, that's about it. I mean, there are other things that I could bring up. Here's one thing. Joseph's death um, foreshadows the death of the old regime in France.
Yeah?
He dies right as the
Yep.
third, like the Estates General is convening, and the old political system in France with the nobility at the top is about to crumble.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So his death foreshadows that.
Alright.
That's something that I discovered.
Mm-hmm. Again.
um,
Alright.
and then we seem to have glossed over like episodes 34 and 35. Those are the ones where Oscar defies General Bouillet's orders, and she lets the third estate into the assembly hall,
Yep.
and then she's charged with treason, and then the whole thing with her dad, and then the men in the prison get out of they get out of prison because apparently Antoinette pardons them, which is a detail you picked up that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm content to leave it there. I think podcast is going long, but I'm so into this show right now. I don't care about seasonal anime. Just let them be over.
All right. So next postcard we will start in 2 weeks. We're gonna do the final batch of Rover Cell.
Yep.
Give it like the final impressions and decide what shows we're gonna do next.
Yes.
So remember that I gonna give you a list of like 1 or 2 shows or 3 shows that I would like to do.
Have you been thinking about it? Like which ones you want to do? Oh, okay.
Sorry, but no.
Me neither.
All right, so we're gonna compile that list and then pick the one show that we most agree with.
Right. So 2 weeks from now is the 23rd, and then probably 2 weeks after that, maybe, or maybe even 3 weeks, we'll get started on the summer season. It'll depend on when the shows that we want to watch are airing, right? Like some of them probably won't air till mid-June or mid-July.
Yes, and I reckon like in 2 or 3 weeks it's gonna be like the final episodes up on this current season show as well.
Right.
So we do the finals reviews on those shows since we watch it till the end.
Yep. It's about to be a new chapter in Double Cross Anime Podcast history.
Oh.
We're moving on, man. Summer's almost here.
Alright, and we're gonna do the next seasons like we did before.
Yeah. Where we pick
Pick
10 shows or something like that, and then we both rank them 1 to 10. We use that to decide which ones to cover. I think that's like the most fair way to do it, and it's kind of exciting.
Right. All right.
All that's coming up.
Any last thought?
Watch Rose of Versailles. It's pretty good. If you can make it through the first half, your reward will be great.
Or you can just start from the episode 18. You don't miss much.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. Like now that I'm seeing these later episodes, I kind of feel as though I'm sure you were joking.
Yeah, that's a bad advice, I know.
Yeah. I kind of feel as though the groundwork that's established in the early episodes is really important. But it's true that the better material is, in the second half.
In the later half, yep.
Yeah.
And it's just Hisone, if you can tolerate on those romance, keep watching. Make a little box again. If you like the style, you will be rewarded.
Yeah, it's alright. It's pretty good.
Piano no Mori.
Less said about that, the better.
Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it.
Just leave it.
All right. And Golden Kamuy, it isn't that good. I tell you.
Did you want to talk about all the other shows that you're watching, or?
It's just the only show that I'm watching right now. Actually, Golden Kamuy. I gonna catch up with on this other show. Right. I have one more show that I want to briefly mention before we end this, which is Fully Coolly Progressive.
Right.
I watched the first episode of that. You mentioned that you don't want to watch those, right?
No, Fully Coolly is like one of my top 3 anime of all time. I do not want to see what they're doing with it now. I'm not interested.
All right, I would say that because I watched the first episode of this one, Fully Coolly Progressive, and the one back in April Fool, Fully Coolly Alternative.
Right. So
all those two carry the same spirit as the originals. On those, the original was more like raw, was more like more emotional frustrations, which I feel this those two don't have that yet, but still like the wow visual, the craziness, even like for the fully progressive, the unpredictably are there. So if you like the original fully, just go and watch it.
I mean, it's possible that after Progressive and Alternative have both been released in their entirety, and I have all 12 episodes in front of me, it is possible that I will dip my toe in and see what
Yep.
they're like. But Fooly Cooley, it came around for me at like the perfect time in my life.
Yep.
I am completely in love with almost everything about it. Actually, the show we were talking about earlier, like the one that I love for seemingly no reason, that's kind of like silly and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean,
It's
Fooly Cooley has a lot of that,
Yep.
and
It's it.
I do appreciate that about anime is that
Yep.
it is juvenile and it is wacky and silly and like you could say lowbrow, but it has the power to move you in a way that makes you feel like like a teenager, like a kid.
Yep.
And I think Fooly Cooley did that for me, so I'm afraid, not even
All
afraid,
right.
I'm just not interested in the new ones. But I'm glad to
You
hear
know
that they're good.
that people actually say that the original Fulikulis would resonate with them. The way that like on the kids our age, so we are old people now, resonate with. So they have like on the coming up age
Right,
frustration,
right.
the frustration of being an adult, being like growing up. So all of us just hope that the new follicles doesn't bring that back, but like will be resonate to the current teenager now.
Yeah.
As long as they do that job, they're gonna be good.
Well, I mean, hopefully so. I may never know.
All right, I will tell you. I will I will tell
You'll tell
in the
the world.
postcard. Yep, I will let you know if follicles the new ones gonna be doing that,
Okay.
achieving that. All right,
I hope they do for the sake of like new viewers.
new generations
Right.
of viewers.
Yeah, because
All right,
it's airing in America before Japan.
yep. But on the dub, I don't really like the English dub though, but that's another story.
Yeah.
And because the podcast is running long right now, so let's just wrap them all up.
All right.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. We'll see you in
We,
2 weeks.
yeah, we have a blast. Thank you.
See you later.
See ya.